Risk Never Sleeps podcast, in which we learn about the people that are on the front lines protecting patient safety and delivering patient care. I'm Ed Gaudet, the host of the program, and today I am pleased to be joined by Brittany Cyriacks. Did I get that right?
You got it right.
Okay, excellent. All right, at UC Health. So why don't we start off sharing a little bit about your current role and your organization with listeners?
Yeah, happy to. So I'm the Clinical Informatics Program Director for a health system in Colorado called UC Health. We have about 14 hospitals throughout the state. We have several clinics. We do some affiliate work with hospitals in Nebraska, Wyoming. We're a medium-sized organization. And we do have what we call the Virtual Health Center, which is a command center that services our entire system and provides support virtually for both inpatient, acute care and outpatient programs. And so my role really has been to lead designing those programs and bringing those up from the ground up and kind of redesigning care models just to really help augment the bedside team and make sure that regardless of what's happening in our hospital walls, that we have this angel in the sky watching over and making sure that we're doing everything we need to do for patient safety. In my role as a clinical informaticist, I have a great deal of operational experience. I have been with my organization for over 17 years. Before I transitioned into this role about 7 years ago, I was in operations in various leadership positions for 10 years. So I have a great appreciation for the business, for the patient care, for the workarounds that staff are doing, living and breathing that. And so in my role, I really get to be the interpreter between that and then really getting to know the technology over the last 7 years. I can speak that language as well. So I spend a lot of time almost in a consultant role, a lot of times between the clinicians and the tech side, just to bridge that gap between those two languages.
Mm-hmm. And did you start off as a nurse?
I did. Yep. Started pulmonary. As a brand new nurse. Yes. Pulmonary unit.
Yeah.
Correct.
Cool. And Epic, you're an Epic shop, I assume.
We are now. Yep. Obviously, when I started at our organization, it was just one hospital. We were on an older EHR. And then we, started joining forces with other hospitals, became a system, went on to Epic. And so we are now an Epic shop. And we are very fortunate that every hospital runs the same instance of Epic, which really makes our command center efficient and successful.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Are you an Imprivata shop too?
I'm assuming, maybe, potentially. I'd have to look into it.
Do you use cards, tap and go on a reader to get in, or?
Depends on the location. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So some locations are. Yeah, I used to.
I'll ask our desktop guys that question. Okay.
Well, if they love Imprivata, they'll love the question. If they don't love it, that might be.
I'll get back to you on that.
It could be challenging. It's workflow. You're integrating identity and access management with workflow, and it's hard, right? So.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, you could say the same thing about scanners, for medication.
Same thing. Exactly. Yeah. Right. Cool. And so, as you look out over the next 12, 24 months, what are some of your top priorities?
For me, again, being in the virtual space, I'm quite excited because we've been able to really impact patient care by standardizing just the tools in the EHR alone. Haven't really needed any fancy cameras, anything like that, which is awesome from a virtual standpoint. But what is really incredible is, after COVID, I went to a conference and just saw a significant amount of vendors getting into the virtual nursing space. And it blew my mind because we had, gone with some legacy technology, and you could just see these other vendors had taken it way up, beyond our imagination. So I'm really looking forward to kind of that smart room of the future and what we can do with computer vision and ambient technology and taking it a step further with maybe even some agentic AI to really be that agent for the nurse while they're in the room, and just really get the nurses out of the EHR and just allow them to provide that care and use technology and design it to just really make it streamlined. We're walking in the room, we're assessing pain, our computer flashes up on the last time we gave pain medicine, starts drafting up a response to the physician to ask for a new order, then documents the pain, the reassessment, the turning we do of the patient, I really just want to focus on how we can work with these companies to develop that solution
Yeah.
for nursing. And we're beginning those conversations. And so I'm really excited to start that work.
Nice. Like you can imagine you have an AI agent in your ear, kind of
Yeah.
helping you through the process. Like we have ambient listening today for, for certain use cases. And yeah, no, that would be great that clinicians could spend more time with patients, which is the ultimate goal. But
Yeah.
we're not there yet.
Yeah. But just even imagine the patient being a part of that care because we're
mm,
having to care out loud and say all the things that we're doing and ask all the questions out loud. And then even having that agent say, hey, saw what you did, but you missed these 2 steps on the protocol. Like, don't forget to do that before you leave.
yeah.
And really training it to know what we should be doing. Again, was in operations and brought on a lot of the newer nurses as what we called an educator and had to build that foundation for them. And as you know, we're having a lot of turnover in nursing, and
Yeah.
nurses just don't know what they don't know until they
Mm,
experience it. And so, how can we teach them in the moment, provide them the resource in the moment, and keep that quality of care for the patient? I'm really excited for these tools because, I mean, to be honest, we've tried to build these checklists and Epic and fire alerts to the nurses, and we're
right.
fatiguing them and we're telling them stuff they already know. I don't have time to do this.
Yeah.
Why can't we like tell them and do it for them? A lot of that, risk and barriers that we have with,
Yeah.
the EHR.
No, I
So,
love that. I love that. And in you can imagine the patient having their own advocate as well,
yeah.
participating. So you've got the clinical side has agents, and the patient advocate now has an agent that says something like, "Oh, hey, remember you just had this. You've got this NSAID issue now that you need to make sure your doctor knows about, right?"
Yeah.
And and so there's certain obviously reactions you could have to certain antibiotics or other drugs. So
Yeah.
that could be really interesting. I think we'll get there. I still looking forward to the day where everything is sort of done at the home, or I can walk into a little
Yes.
box and
Yeah.
get
I
my
mean, everybody
get my
wants to be at
scan,
home. Yeah.
like get my scan and my meds come from somewhere, who knows where. But no, it's really cool. And how did you get into this line of work? How did you get into healthcare?
Healthcare. Well, I mean, I am a type 1 diabetic. I was diagnosed when I was 10. We lived in Korea at the time. My dad was
Hmm.
in the military, and it was kind of a misdiagnosed situation that ended kind of scarily for my parents. And,
Hmm.
all was well kind of after I came out of this coma, but they kind of said, you got to go back to the United States. We can't really care for your daughter here. So we moved back. And then I think just naturally having to go to the doctor as much as you do as a diabetic, every three
Hmm.
months, you're checking in with your endocrinologist, making adjustments. I think that just lends itself, like you're already around healthcare. So it seemed like, a pretty natural transition. But also, I grew up with these physicians and just everything that I went through, they were kind of a coach. And so I feel like I've really been able to make relationships with complete strangers. I always tell people I can talk to a brick wall, really.
me,
I
me
try and
too.
like, yeah, yeah.
Same way.
Yep.
My wife doesn't
And
like it. Like you're
I know,
talking to some complete stranger. Yeah.
I know my husband's always like, you met someone who talks more than you? My God. Yeah. So it just lends itself nicely to
Yeah.
making people feel comfortable and they're
Mm,
most vulnerable. So got into healthcare for that. I never thought, obviously, when I got into healthcare that I'd be in IT.
hmm.
But I really do feel like with every career path that I've taken, I really work well in the gray. And especially when there's not just one right answer. And the way my mind works is breaking down a problem into bite-sized pieces and finding a solution at every bite size so that people
Hmm.
can really envision implementing step by step and how make it more attainable. And so I think I've
Yeah.
done really well in this role because of that. And that's kind of why I got into informatics after being in nursing, is because I saw how much easier I was making it for newer nurses to understand and feel like, they could achieve success in the work that they're doing.
Nice. I love that. I mean, whenever it's unlike any other industry, healthcare has a shared mission that if you work in healthcare, you really appreciate, no matter what side of the ecosystem you're on, whether you're on the provider side or the vendor side. It's a very unique, special place to work, and when it's personal, it adds even that next level of empathy that you don't always get. But no, I love that. I think I remember when I first went into healthcare, finally my mother knew what I did. Like she could understand what
Yeah.
I did. The only problem is every time she go to the hospital, she'd say, "My son made this. My son invented this." I'm like, "I didn't do that, Mom. This one I did, but not that one."
I know. I know. Well,
So
now, I mean, you like in IT, you have imposter syndrome kind of big time because everyone's like, you're not a real nurse. And I'm like, I'm a nurse's nurse. I can tell you right now, I can remember how to put an NG tube in an IV.
I love that. A
I'll jump
nurse's
right on
nurse.
in. Yeah.
I used the similar. I was telling some. We just hired somebody new for a new function. I'm like, he's a player's coach, if you know what that means. Like,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
That's great.
You gotta be in the weeds for
You do.
sure with
You
them,
do.
and feel it. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
do. I mean, how can you empathize with people if you haven't actually done the work, or felt the
Right.
pain, or been through the challenges? Because it's hard. This is not easy.
Absolutely. No.
Uh, and
Yeah.
and 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 I come from a family of nurses, and I watch what they do, and I mean, that's God's work right there. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know how
Yeah.
you stay on your feet all day. Like,
Yeah.
um,
The
it's
steps. Gotta get the
it's
steps
oh
in.
yeah, yeah. It's funny. That's what they say.
Yeah.
Always talking about this. Oh, okay, so it is something interesting.
It is a
Uh,
thing.
yeah, I get them when I'm at the events. I get the steps. I'm like,
Well,
my phone.
hopefully you're going to a lot of events.
Thank you. It's so nice. Yeah. My phone yells at me. They're like, "You've done more steps in 3 days than you have in 3 months."
Yeah.
Like,
You're
what?
like, you're like, don't tell me what I already know.
Yeah, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it in 3 days. So, you go back in time and you could see your 20-year-old self there. What would you say to her?
Well, I am 20. Just saying that. So, well,
There
no,
you go.
no.
You started working
Um,
when you were 3.
yeah, that's smart. No, I think pretty easily just knowing like not to be the smartest person in the room.
Mm,
I like to remain relatable and I like to make sure people know they can challenge me. I just think when you're in innovation, you really need to just, make sure everybody feels like every idea is a good idea and have that
yeah.
conversation. And so I really do like, if I don't know an answer, I'll go find it for you. But just really making sure you go to an interaction to learn something
I
is
love that.
nice.
I don't know. I think that might be new. I don't think I've heard that. I think no, I love that
Okay, there
advice
you
though.
go.
I love that
Yep.
advice because oftentimes we do have to, either we feel like we have to be the smartest person in the room, or if we're not the smartest person in the room, then we feel inferior about the
It's that
experience.
ego, that you
Yeah.
gotta check the ego at the
Check
door.
the ego. Right.
Check the
More
ego at the door.
philosophy. More philosophy.
I mean, just think of all the bias you bring in and stuff. Like I said, when you're taking care of patients, like the more you can ground yourself in,
Yeah.
it's not about me, it's about the patient.
Yeah.
I think that's a great thing.
Yeah. No, yeah. And doctors, of course, have no bias or no ego. So it's all
Not,
the-
no,
no,
no American has a bias. So
that's true. Right. With the land of bias, I think.
yeah, probably.
Oh man. Okay, good. This is the Risk Never Sleeps podcast. So I have to ask you this question. What's the riskiest thing you've ever done?
I mean, what I could talk about professionally, I think just
I love the disclaimer.
yeah. No, getting into clinical informatics was a big risk because,
Mm,
like I said, I was an expert in what I was doing before. And then I
yeah.
had to go work with a bunch of IT people
Yeah.
who are a totally different breed, totally different language. There was a solid 6 months that I was like, yeah, if this doesn't get any better, I got to go back to what I was doing. It was really hard.
Mm,
So that was a big risk and I'm glad I took it. I had a mentor at the time that was like, you won't be sorry. And the whole time I was like, I'm feeling pretty sorry. um, but I think our organization is really great and uses this role in a
Mhm.
phenomenal way. I report directly to a chief nursing officer who's been really supportive of my
Mm,
growth and partnership. So I'd say, professionally. And then I think personally, just becoming a mom was a huge risk. I think that's like the ultimate leadership challenge right there.
absolutely. Yep.
Um, and trying to coach these kids when their life is being framed in technology and still like as an adult trying to learn it yourself is, there's no manual. You're literally like
No
every
manual.
day I'm making something up. So I love,
Amen.
so,
No, it's
yeah,
I just became a grandparent,
yeah.
and I can't even say it.
I know
And
that's hard. What do they call you? What do they call you? Is it
well, they didn't want to call.
grandpa?
No, they wanted to call me a bunch of names, but I wanted to be called Pepe. So
Pepe.
so I
Okay.
had to actually sell it because they're like, my daughter's like, yeah, no, we're not calling you Pepe. I'm like, no, 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 no. She's like, yeah, the kid will call you PP. We're not calling you Pepe. So I had to make T-shirts, Brittany, with Team
Yeah.
Pepe on them
Oh, that's
before
awesome.
he was born and give
Why
him.
aren't you wearing that on this podcast?
I
Team
don't.
Pepe.
I appreciate the confidence that could fit into a 1T or a 2T even. But and of course I had to decorate it with a little Grateful Dead stuff. So
Yeah, okay,
I got a little
nice.
dead. He's already got some dead bibs, so he's a little bit of a deadhead. He's like six months now, 7 months. Yeah,
Oh,
it's so
it
cool.
sounds
It's so
like you're enjoying it.
we're
Yeah.
we're 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 having fun. He is. Yeah, I become the person I hope I did never became, the doting grandparent. I become the like I take
What?
more photos of. Yeah, I know. I saw.
Did you know?
I know it sounds awful to say, but it's like I hope I don't become one of those people that is always like posting about food on Facebook or posting about my dog or my grandkid on Facebook, and now I become those people. So,
I know.
yeah.
You have an Instagram page for just posts of you and
I
your
don't do
your
the
grandson.
Instagram. I don't do the
Okay.
Instagram. Yeah,
You
and
don't do
I'm
the
no, I don't
Instagram.
do the Instagram and TikTok or whatever the talk it is. I don't know what the talk. I don't know.
I also don't do the talk, so
Yeah,
we're
I don't. My kids all. I have three daughters. They all do the talk, and I don't get. I don't like what. I don't get it. Like I read. I'm a voracious reader. If you ever really want to read something that's so dark, in
yeah.
fact, it's in the title. It's in the title. Dark, Dark Aeon.
No,
It's
I'm
it's
not I'm not a dark type of, book.
listen to this: transhumanism and the war against humanity.
Yep,
It's
no.
about yeah. This is like someone just someone just recommended it, so of course I had to buy it, and then I'm like
I'll
reading. I'm
go
like,
ahead and get
what?
the cliff notes
It's
from you when you're
terrible. It's
done.
awful. It's like the end of the world as we know it, and I don't
Well,
feel fine.
we don't need any more of that.
I know exactly. We need to move to Colorado or Boulder. That's where we need to
Yes,
go.
for
All
the
right. That's
mountains.
for the mount. Do you ski?
I do.
Ah,
I do
I've
skate.
I was just at Park City, not to ski, for a class event. Wow.
Yeah.
In,
And what
in
did you think?
Utah, right?
Yeah.
That's in Utah. It was
Was it
great.
cold there
It
yet?
was great.
Snowy?
No, it was nice. It's
Okay.
beautiful. I've never
Yeah.
been to this particular lodge. It was quite nice, and then but I have skied at Snowbird and
Okay.
Alta
Are
many
you a
years
good
ago.
skier?
I was back then, yeah, but I'm
Okay.
not anymore because
Yeah.
I have jello hip or
It's
whatever you want to call
it's
it.
a little risky if you don't
I
keep it
love
up for sure.
I skied all my life. Yeah, I
I'm like
ballet skied. Ballet
did
skied.
you? Well, I don't even know what that is.
Neither did I. it was very short skis, like 140s,
Okay.
very very short, and
Uh-huh.
a lot of jumps and tricks, and 360s and spread eagles and J's and flips and it's
Okay,
crazy
well,
stuff that
wow.
I should not been doing when I was younger. But
I
I
just straight up do the pizza and I
oh
do it
the
for a
pizza. I'm like, what is
couple.
that? Oh, I
Yep,
get it.
yep. I do the pizza.
The wedge.
Yep.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
do it for a couple times just so I can say it's all
Ah.
right that I'm having a mimosa at, 11. So that's my skiing, if you can
The
picture
excuse for the mimosa. Well, the best way to learn how to parallel is, well, first of all, I mean, you're in powder heaven. So all you got to do is just lean a little forward and make sure you don't hit the mogul field. But
Yeah,
if you get a balloon and
a
just,
balloon.
yeah, and just hold it between your legs, that's the best way to learn how to parallel.
Everyone will look at me like I'm insane.
Who cares? Who cares? Do you care? Who cares? You're on the ski slopes. Who cares? Who
They're going to be
cares?
like, stay away from that girl because she'll make sure we're injured. I don't know. I'll try it.
You could be cooler. You get on a board, a snow, a
That I
snowboard.
can't do. I did try it and I did like a 360 on the ground, like
Yeah.
fractured a rib. I won't be back
Oh,
on a
you
board.
did? You broke?
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
not, and it was during lessons. Like, I feel like they should have
Yeah.
protected me from that situation.
Yeah, that's
So,
not good. Yeah, no, I've never been on a board. I just but
yeah.
but unfortunately no longer. But I do miss it. I have dreams about skiing. I know
Okay.
that's how much I miss it. Yeah. And anyway, so all right, let's get back to the question. Did you tell me the riskiest thing you've? Yeah, you did.
I did. It probably wasn't a new answer. for
No,
you,
it was good.
but
It was good. No, it was
can't do
good.
it for everyone.
No, that's right. That's right. No, you had some good answers. So, all right. If you weren't doing this, what would you be doing? What are you most passionate about doing?
If I weren't doing this job.
Yeah, if you weren't doing this job, you have any hobbies or?
Oh, yeah. Well, I think I'm in a house full of boys and I'm about to get a dog that's a boy. But if we're not cheering on the Nebraska Cornhuskers, go Big Red.
Go Big Red.
We're watching some kind of sports, playing sports, arguing about sports.
Nice.
I beat them a lot in fantasy football, believe it or
I'm
not.
glad you qualified that.
Yeah, I do something. But
My
no,
mother
I
just
think
beat me a lot. There was no fantasy football. I just got beaten a lot.
I beat them a lot in fantasy football.
Yeah, nice. That's quite
but-
that's interesting that you play fantasy football. I've talked to so many people recently that play it, and I just never got my. I've been schooled now, so I kind of understand how it's played.
Yeah.
And I went to Vegas recently, and I did a prop bet. Do you know what that is?
Have no idea.
Okay, a prop bet is where instead of betting on the team, you can bet on like the quarterback throws X number of passes, or
Oh, yes.
the receiver catches Y number of passes, or a running back runs.
Isn't that like a pure parlay? Yeah, there it is.
Yes,
Like
you
this
can do it, the
parlay
parlay,
type.
yeah.
Okay, the parlay thing.
Yeah.
Okay,
You have like three or four two things together, and if they hit, you win. Of course,
Yeah.
I did not win because
yeah,
but it was fun because you watch sports at a different level
yeah.
when
You
when
pay
there's money on
attention.
the
You're more
line.
engaged. Yeah.
It's
And I say that's the reason I started fantasy football like a decade ago is I realized, well, this is how we're spending a lot of our life. And so I've got to spend time, right? This is
Mhm.
what they consider quality time, or find my own hobbies. And so
love
fantasy football kind of keeps me engaged with the boys.
that's good. Yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have had geeky kids like me, and you'd be playing Dungeons and Dragons. Which I'm not sure that's like any fun.
That's true. That's true.
All right.
Yeah.
That's good. All right. So a couple more questions. If you're on a desert island, you could bring 5 records or albums with you. What would you bring?
Well, sorry, it's not going to be Grateful Dead.
Okay. No, that's okay. There's
No,
plenty of islands out there I could be on. I don't have to be on your island.
Yeah, I think probably Friends,
Oh.
because I feel like that show never gets old to me. I could probably watch it the rest of my
Oh,
life.
nice.
It's a good
Okay.
one.
Yeah, good.
Definitely, I like to lift weights, and the island may or may not have weights, but I need to have a workout video because if I'm going to be stranded, I'm coming back like in the best shape of my life for sure.
Yep. This is not Muscle Beach, but it's Muscle
Yeah.
Island, so you'll be fine.
Yeah, there you go. And then, I don't know, something to keep me, like we were talking about, I can talk to a brick wall. So I'm going to go insane without someone to talk to. So something upbeat. So I'm not just talking to myself all day long.
Nice.
I don't know. I like a lot of Cardi B, Brittany Spears. Yeah, I'm a Brittany Spears
Cardi
fan.
B.
Yeah,
How about
just
Lizzo?
like,
You like Lizzo?
she's all right.
No.
There was a lot of hype about her. So I don't know.
I like Lizzo. She had a couple good songs.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like we share a lot of, similar music interests, but
You like Journey?
I mean, who doesn't like Journey?
Well, there it is.
Yeah.
That-
I like Hootie and the Blowfish.
Hootie. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I
Nice.
like older country music.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Not the new stuff?
Breathicky. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's all right.
You heard of Zach Bryan? You know Zach Bryan?
Yeah. Yeah.
You like Zach Bryan?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
I feel like he kind of sounds like older country,
Yeah,
you know?
he does.
So
He's like
that's,
almost like a country Springsteen.
yeah, so I kind of,
You like
that's
Springsteen?
why I think I like, no,
No, don't like
sorry.
Springsteen. Wow.
No,
Okay.
sorry.
No racing in the streets for you.
No.
Okay. All right. Last question. If you, if you're talking to a recent graduate, wanted to get into healthcare, wanted to get into IT, informatics, what advice would you give her or him?
Yeah, I get a lot of people reaching out to me about this work. I think when you're a newer nurse and you're kind of in the thick of it and how hard it is right now, a position like mine looks in their mind cushier than kind of what they're going through. And I really caution them that that's not the case and that you really have to do the work and know what the work is like to do well in a position like mine. If you really do want to make nurses' lives easier, you have to live through it. And it can't just be 1 or 2 years, right, in the profession. And so I think, sticking with it, really getting your core foundation as a nurse together, but getting involved in those extra committees, making sure your voice is heard when we're asking you to come to the table for projects, really representing your role to the technology companies, because we don't do anything in a silo. We really do ask for the nurses to come to the table here when we're engaging in projects. And so just being engaged in that way and having control over what tools are going to impact them from their day-to-day. Just imagine if we can solve their problems because of the engagement and they actually want to stay at the bedside. I think at the end of the day, that's really what I'm after for the workforce, is to solve real problems for them. And not only just solve problems, but create something that's a resource to them, because they're not going to know everything. And it gets really scary when you're in a situation with a patient and you don't know what to do.
Right.
And so I think just really, you have to go through all that to appreciate the value that would bring and the problems that you're trying to solve. So my advice is, stick with it, stay engaged, do the extra raising of your hand, use your voice, advocate for the profession. And then thanking them just for the hard work and being there and continuing to learn.
That's great advice. And thank you for your time. It's really a pleasure talking to you today on the program. This is Ed Gaudet from the Risk Never Sleeps program. If you're on the front lines protecting patient safety and delivering patient care, remember to stay vigilant because risk never sleeps.